Hello and welcome to IMDB's Worst 100.
Today we're looking at number 79, Fat Slags. The delightfully titled Fat Slags.
Yes, it's named after the comic strip by Viz that it's based on, although the creator of the comic strip says that this film's terrible, he hates it. It's a film. But it is the first British film on the IMDb Worst 100 list so far. So, I mean, that's something to be proud of, isn't it? Let's get on with the video.
And that's just the warning shot. You've got about 5 seconds till she follows through.
I guess I'm going to explain the plot of Fat Slags now. I mean, surprisingly, it does have a plot. So that's something anyway.
More than you expect.
Yeah, so we've got our two lead characters who are the Fat Slags. And I'm going to just apologise at this point for the fact that I've got to keep saying Fat Slags. Slag is a British word that is pretty offensive. I don't really like saying it, but it's the name of the film, so here we go. The two Fat Slags are basically these two women who live in the North. And in the film's world, the North is this hellhole, this sort of shitty, broken... Their house is full of dirt, and these are these two disgusting... fat northern women. Ugh.
I think the road's even called Shit Street or something.
Yes,
like that.
That is true. The road that they live on is called Shit Street, and they live. Wait, you got to hold your sides for this one. They live at number 69. It's funny because. Yeah. Anyway, they get called up to be on a TV show in fancy London.
You two are fat. And you're from the north, I believe.
We're not fat, we're just big boned. That's right, we're lovely.
And they make a bit of a scene. They end up having this massive fist fight with the presenter. Now, over somewhere else in London is an American businessman. He's a super rich businessman. And he is kind of, your average businessman guy. And he's got a lawyer who's Anthony Head from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. His assistant is Jerry Halliwell. She is an incredible actress. And it's a real shame that... I don't know why you're laughing. Have some respect for the Halliwell, please. An incredible actress, and she really has a lot to show in this film as well.
Shut off.
Sparkling repartee.
The businessman guy, whatever his name is, he gets hit on the head by a pot. The head trauma, normally that causes amnesia in films, but in this film it causes him to fancy the Fat Slags.
A big mouth, but have you got the bullets to match it? Really?
I want to be in bed with these women.
Gets the two Fat Slags and he says, I'm going to make you big stars. And he pushes them into London Fashion Week. Everyone's not really that happy about it, but, they go up on the fashion walk, they strut their stuff, and they finish their fashion show by revealing their tits. And this, for some reason... makes them a massive sensation. They become massive stars overnight. You see kind of newspaper headlines. And then they go on top of the pops. They have a hit single. This is where you kind of like, wow, this film is really going somewhere, huh? This story is great. Unfortunately for the Slags, they kind of have this jealousy thing because they both fancy the American businessman guy, Sean Cooley, I've just remembered his name. They kind of have a fight over him. And this culminates through a series of events that I'm not going to go into, with one of the Slags biting off Sean Cooley's penis.
I'm so sorry, love. I've never done that before.
I think this is the traditional way to end the second act of any film, I think, isn't it? The severed penis. Incredibly, it's not funny.
Shitty hell! Have you gone mental?
This blah 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 somehow leads to them being put in prison. They accidentally kill someone who's supposed to be a bit like Kofi Annan. And the guy with the severed penis, Sean Cooley, he actually recovers from his temporary brain damage. He gets hit on the head again, and that's how you cure brain damage in the world of Fat Slags. You hit them again on the head. And, he sees them for what they are. He doesn't learn a moral lesson like in Shallow Hal. He actually becomes more judgmental at the end. He disowns them. They're in prison. Then they escape prison by shagging the warden. They decide to get revenge on Sean Cooley by stealing his laptop. There's a unfunny Mission Impossible parody. They get his laptop, then it ends up blowing up, so they don't have the laptop. But at the end, Sean Cooley gets crushed by something, and I think he's dead.
Yeah, you're never quite sure.
Yeah. And then the Fat Slags just go back to the north, and they're like, should have just stayed in the north. And that is the film The Fat Slags.
So emotional, isn't it?
I mean, I just wish it had been serialised into a TV drama, because I feel like there's so many interesting storylines in there. You just really want them more fleshed out, don't you? I feel like it lost something in being, squashed into a feature film format. Yeah. I would have liked to see something like a HBO, be like The Wire or The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Something...
Many series as possible.
Yeah,
really,
really explore those characters. Get to know them. Something that I noticed about this film is that it reminded me of It's Pat. And I've had to think about it, and I've realised that the reason that it's reminding me of that is because it's a comedy in which the lead characters are very unlikable, deliberately, and made really gross. Can that kind of comedy work? Because from where I'm standing, it's just the worst form of a film I can think of.
It's vile, isn't it? That was actually, I was going to ask you, do you think you're meant to like the main characters? I think you are meant to work because you're meant to be like, oh, it's all right, we love them anyway, that sort of thing. But it just so badly doesn't pull that off.
Yeah.
They don't even seem like people or characters. They're just so over the top. You feel so far away from them as like being human because you're just watching this horrible shit happening.
Oh, God, you're disgusting.
It's so far from charming that it's baffling. How has it got so bad?
To me, it feels like a deliberate attempt to portray them as really annoying and unlikable and hope that that's going to be funny. But then they also try and reconcile that with a sort of a third act where they become the heroes, where they've got to steal his laptop. It's like, no, I'm not getting behind these characters. They're violent, they're disgusting, they're just
evil,
obnoxious. I mean...
It just made me sigh, really. It's just, you knew what they were like within seconds, and it was just so disgusting. Like, they made them as vile as possible, like, even more vile than Pat. Personalities, farts and burps, boobs and bums. The more I think about it, the more just how it's more sad.
There's a ventilation shaft. No one comes down a shaft like you, Trace.
For me, this film had a lot of really weird, bizarre things happening. And I was just like, why have they done this? That's everything. Every decision was weird. What do you think was the weirdest thing you saw?
This is just the first thing that comes to mind. There might be weirder things in there, but it's actually quite near the end, and it's after the Slags have done their sort of Mission Impossible. They're doing their Mission Impossible style thing, and if you remember in Mission Impossible, Jean Reno, I think he drops a knife. Well, in Fat Slags, she drops a massive dildo.
It lands in a cheesecake.
And it lands in a cheesecake. This scene afterwards where the business guys have come back, and then he says something like, oh, well, at least we've still got the cheesecake. And he slides it into view of the camera, and there's a massive dildo wobbling in it.
Pass me my cheesecake. You think you could do that without fouling it up?
Obviously, you'd be able to see that.
Yeah,
like, because
as you come back in the room.
all you've done is slide it into front of the camera, but it's been in front of you the whole time. And this is
It's
a
a big
big
dildo.
purple dildo. Like, it's just like, the fuck?
The bit I was thinking of was, I think there was a point I lost it. We looked at each other and laughed. I don't know if you remember, because it was just like, why? One of the Fat Slags sat on the other slag's dog, and then it was flat, and then she threw it outside. It hit into someone or something and exploded, and it had this like really shit flame explosion effect. Why?
Yeah.
Why? I gotta give it credit. Like, it tried to do joke after joke, didn't it? Of everything it did was trying to make a joke. Like, even just like this poof, explosion. They're probably like, oh, that'd be hilarious, this shit CGI flame. But obviously it just didn't work. It's just all these weird little decisions.
I mean, that bit, and then there was also another bit, there's a bit where they do a cutaway joke. I think it might have farted or something. And then all of the animals in the savannah are running away and fast forward.
Oh god, it's so...
And it's like, oh, that's their reaction to whatever it was. That bit, and then the other bit that you've just mentioned with the squashing the dog and it throwing out the window and exploding. That was like that random sort of poorly edited jump humour, which... You know, it's a YouTube video level of editing and jokes. It's the kind of thing that you'd expect to see in a Flash cartoon. You're like, lol, random, you know, or you know, one of our shitty videos. Like, come on, like that's the kind of thing that we would and could do. But the thing is, we are YouTubers, and this is like a film with actual stars in and presumably an okay budget.
Also, that was the thing with the bits with the animals. They used old clips from like BBC documentaries from the 60s. Like, they didn't even... It's in 2004. It must have been some decent clips they could have used.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
You're completely right.
Oh.
Very nice.
This is probably an unfair question and quite possibly a impossible to answer question. So I'm going to ask it anyway. How would you make this film worse?
It's quite hard because bad comedies are the lowest film type for me. As all these amazing comedies have, there was cameos. What did you think of all these brilliant cameos in Fat Slags?
I thought that there was a lot of cameos in this film. To a British audience, a lot of them are very recognisable. I don't know how well they'd be known internationally, but you got Les Dennis,
Naomi
Campbell. You got Hugh Dennis, Dolph Lundgren is in it, and his is probably one of the worst cameos.
This is a speak your weight machine. You step on it like so.
209 pounds and 1/2 ounces.
Now you jump on it.
They don't even have the confidence to make something that's entertaining without just chucking a load of B-list TV stars in there.
In the intro, it put Les Dennis's name in it, and he wasn't in it till the last scene. It's just ridiculous. I was like, oh great, Les Dennis, he's hilarious in extras. Like,
Going all very well.
Where did it all go wrong, eh?
So please, give them a big hand on their entrance.
What is that? I want to do something more highbrow. Oscar Wilde or something. Yeah.
thank you for watching this video about us talking about a piece of fucking shit. But this one really takes the shit.
This really ticks the shit. I think you've invented our new catchphrase.
If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. Or if you watch our videos but haven't subscribed, also make sure you do. Give us a like, give us a comment, let us know what you think of Fat Slags from what you've seen.
Has anyone seen it?
Did anyone like it?
Does anyone want to watch it now? If you watch our video and then you're like, I want to watch that, you obviously want to punish yourself, and you should probably look into the deep-seated issues that you may have. See you next time.